Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting. This is going to be a little different live stream than I typically do. I'm going to try to make this as rewatchable as possible, so I'm not necessarily going to interact with the chat as much as I normally do. I'm also not going to wait for people to get here before I start. So I apologize in advance for that. I will shout out the chat a little bit as we go along. So a little bit of a clickbait thumbnail today. As you guys know, for the last year, I have been doing a look back at the CBSI Hot Top 10 6 months later to give an assessment of, okay, what are these books doing? What kind of long-term value do they have? Should people be chasing these in a way to try to help educate myself as much as anyone and the community about what makes a good investment? What books should we be avoiding? Trying to help us deal with FOMO and why it's normally not something we really need to worry about, even though we often do. The other thing I try to do in that video very much is give facts and focus on what it was worth and what it's worth now and limited opinion. I do give some. This video is going to be purely my opinion, purely based on what I have learned from doing this look back from the last year. So I'm going to be going through the books. I'm not going to predict values or anything like that. I'm not crazy enough to do that. I know better. If I could do that, I would be a lot richer than I am. What I'm going to do, though, is kind of throw them into some general categories that we can talk about, and I will go through those categories in a minute. So really, this whole premise is to look at the current books and try to get an idea of where they're at and what they're worth, and what I think is going to happen based on what I've seen. So that's what this is about. It's my opinion. This is not a video taking a shot at CBSI or Tom or Flippers or anything like that. This is about trying to help us think about what we're buying. This should probably be pre-recorded and premiered, and then I could interact more with the chat to make it rewatchable. But I wanted to get it out this weekend. I already feel like Sunday's almost late. The list came out Friday. It's Sunday. So before I get into my categories and that kind of stuff, I will do a quick shout out of the chat because I do want to thank you guys for being here. All right, let's see. We had Comic Books NYC was in here early, making fun of my rhyming thumbnail. JB has critiqued the list immediately. That's what we're going to do. Discovery Bay. Unruly Simeon, thank you for joining me. He is always here. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Vargarian Vigilante, thank you for coming in. He's been around a ton lately. I really appreciate that you've started really following my live streams. D-Runk, what's going on, my friend? Let's see who else we got. Comics for All People, what's going on? CFAP. So that appears to be all that are here right now, at least so far. So, all right. So we're going to do, like I said, I'm going to be putting these books into categories. I'm not making individual predictions on value or anything I'm going to put them into groups of what I think is going to happen. I will lay out those categories in a minute. Well, actually, I'm going to do that now. The first category is things I'm going to consider like true keys. These are, for lack of a better term, straight cash, homie. These are books that have a history of value. The books that go in the straight cash homie category are going to be, these are, like I said, these are books that have a history of value that have been going up one way or another. I expect to continue to go up, whether they hit the hot list or not. Maybe something happened that caused them to bump a little faster for a little bit. But these are long-term valuable books. If they're going to make that category, they truly are straight cash. The next category is that I'm going to put books into is the I'll Be Backs. The I'll Be Backs are what I consider books that are have value, but have bumped up for some reason. A lot of your Marvel spec books are going to hit this because they're peaking because there's Marvel movie news or whatever. In a couple of years, they'll still have value. They'll just be lower again. So these are the books all of these books that are on the list, you should be, because they're hot right now, you should be waiting anyway. But these are the books that, yeah, we'll revisit in 6 months, a year, 2 years after the movie's come and gone. If you really want that book, that's where those books are going to go into. Let's see. My third category is, and this is a lot of your auction news. This is a lot of your hot covers. This is a lot of your new characters. How many first appearances come out every year that we don't know anything about? Most of them, not all, most of them are a trap. Most of them are, people are going after them, and they're going to not be worth, people won't even remember them in 6 months. So that's my third category. My final category is, I don't know, it needs an explanation, is, and this is the, what the hell are we thinking? What are we doing? These aren't necessarily, I don't consider these traps, because we're falling for something that doesn't, like, there's just no way. What are we doing? And I'm going to try to keep those limited. Most of the books are going to fall into the two middle categories. In addition, I do technically have a fifth category, and that I will occasionally bring out. It's going to be rare, and these are the ghosts. And I put the ghosts in there because sometimes this is so hard to tell. Books that are truly, truly rare doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be worth anything. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Now, within these, I have a couple of subcategories, and I never did get the saying on. I am missing something. Oh, I know. Sorry, I had one other thing that I was supposed to have in here, and I want to have. So when I get to the trap, I'm going to have some subcategories under that. I will go through those here in a minute. Let's shout out the chat one more time before we actually start going through this week's books. I saw DS drop in here. Thank you, DS, for joining us. Let's see. Maybe that's it. Maybe it was just DS. 84, thank you for hopping in. So yeah, so this is what I'm going to be going through here. So let's start sharing. So this week, did we have, oh, so I almost forgot. One last thing. The list. Tom, we all know Tom and CBSI have split. Tom is using a subset of the Key Collector top 20 of the week to do his top 10. So CBSI puts out 10, the hot top 10 plus 2 honorable mentions. And Key Collector puts out a top 20 of the week. Just for ease and timing, I'm going to focus on the 10 CBSI books and the 10 books that Tom chooses from the Key Collector video, for his video from the Key Collector top 20. It's really just to keep it from being 22 books, gets to be huge. As it is, we're going to have 16 books this week, which is a pretty typical number. Again, I'm not taking a shot at Tom or CBSI by doing this, at least not in my mind. I'm sure people will think so. Flippers probably won't like me either very much. But if you're selling these books, you're ahead of the game. This is where you need to be. If you're finding them in dollar bins, there's nothing wrong with picking any of these up. If you're finding them back issues or cover price or whatever, then yeah, power to you. You're not doing any, you're not wasting. This is addressed at people that are chasing these on the secondary market like eBay and trying to get them to think about their choices and whether or not these books really have like long-term value. All Tom and CBSI and them are doing is reporting what's hot. That's it. I'm just trying to give some context and trying to bring down a little bit of FOMO. So we are 10 minutes in. I haven't showed a book yet, so let's get on with it. All right. They're talking about helicopters in the chat, so I must not be very exciting. So here we go. Let's add this to the stream. So, oh, 1 second. So we had no straight cast homies this week. None. 16 books. No books that I would consider straight cast homie books. There's nothing like that, and you'll see as we go through this why I say that. Typically, if you've been watching my videos, you know that 2/3 of the books go down in 6 months. Another 20% stay the same. So you're only looking at, like, on average, 1 to 2 books a week that will go up over the 6 months to a year to 2 years that we're talking about here, projecting what these books are worth. This week happens to have none, in my opinion. That's just where we're at. Most of the books are going to fall in those other categories. So with that, let's move on to the I'll Be Backs. These are books I think have some value. I would just be patient with them because you get away from news and that kind of stuff, and they'll probably be more affordable as we go forward. So with that, let's. All right. I gotta get rid of the brand. Still figuring out this whole thing. All right. So the first one, and these are not in the order they're on Tom or CBSI's lists. I regrouped them, reordered them by when I grouped them. So this is just the first one I'm looking at, and this is Justice League Dark, number 1. So if you know, there's been a bunch of news this week. J.J. Abrams, Bad Robot, has gotten the rights to do Justice League Dark TV and everything else. So this first Justice League Dark, which we'll talk about whether or not it's the first later, is hot right now. But by hot, it's only going for like 20 books. I do think there's a little value in this team. There's been enough smoke over the years that I think eventually something's going to be done here. I think you get away from the announcement. This book will be back down to a $10 book in a couple months. If you want to grab it, that's fine. But the thing to remember, this almost made my It's a Trap list because let's be real, and the fact that we went down this road with Justice League Dark a ton of times. So I put it here, but I debated strongly against not putting it here. So that is the first book that I do think it's a good book. I don't think it's ever going to be more than a $10 to $20 book. And I think paying 20 to 30 right now, I think just patience on this one. Our second book in the I'll Be Back group is Vengeance. And this is Vengeance 1 of 6. This is the first appearance of America Chavez. There's rumors that she's going to be in one of the upcoming, I think, Doctor Strange, the upcoming Doctor Strange movie. So this is what got this book jumping. Normally, this would probably also go into It's a Trap kind of thing because there's no confirmation this character is going to be in the movies yet. But given the nature of this character, I think probably at some point Marvel's going to find a way to use her. Whether you believe in that they should do that or kind of force those characters or whatever, that's a different discussion. Given who this character is, I think eventually Marvel's going to use her. I would just wait a couple months till rumors die down or whatever, and between now and when the movie comes out, there'll be a good time to kind of just check back on this book, and you can probably, if you're interested in the character, if you want to like try to get it and then flip it even at the movie time, I would just be waiting. So that's me. All right. Whoa, went too far. I just want to go here. There we go. Now this one, you guys could probably say I'm wrong on. I left this one in here, and it almost went in a category you guys will see in a minute. This is the first Elena. What is her name now? I don't even remember. So that's not good. Elena Grayson, who's been revealed to be the Batwoman Beyond. This is her first appearance. I left this here because I do feel like Batman Beyond has a following. There's a lot of people. This book, they keep publishing this book. And right now, the book's not going for crazy. If this book was going for $30, $40, I tell you were nuts. It'd be It's a Trap. It's going for 20. I think that's probably reasonable. That's why I haven't bumped it up. If next week it's on the list again and it's going for 40 or 50, I would bump it down, because you're not long term. You're probably not going to get your value out of that. Again, patience. If you're interested, if you like the Batman Beyond, you're interested in the story, I would come back to this one. Number 4. So I had a hard time. You guys are probably going to, overall, I feel like I'm going to be considered overly negative. I was trying not to be. I could almost put all of these into drabs this week. I feel like this is the first Darth Revan. This is Knights of the Old Republic. He was a popular character from the game and that kind of stuff. Marvel or Disney is going to make more Star Wars stuff. And what I see right now is they are scrambling to find stuff that they think people will actually like. And Unruly says I had a little batch bias on my other one. Maybe. Terry Batman Beyond, female Batman, it's a trap. It probably is. Let's be honest. I could have, and as I go through these books this week, you guys are going to see that there wasn't a lot to even go above It's a Trap, and I kind of felt bad about that, so I kind of forced a few of these. But I do think there's a couple of first appearances in here, including Darth Revan. I think this is another one. It's probably a trap. It probably should be in the next category down. But I do think Disney's going to try to do something with Knights of the Old Republic because they're trying to find Star Wars stuff people are going to be happy with. And that has been a struggle for them right now. So that's why I would say, but for now, this is just rumor and speculation. You're going to have plenty of time to track this down. I'd come back to this book. Now, this one, I feel comfortable with it being, I'll be back. And this is First Red Hulk. This is maybe the only one that probably really deserves to be in this category that's in here. Well, there's one more. And this is all hit the list because they see Black Widow. There's a picture of her in the upcoming movie walking around with this vial of red stuff. And we know Thunderbolt glowing red stuff. And we know Thunderbolt Ross is in this movie. And now Marvel has the rights to do a Hulk movie. And so people are expecting that this is ultimately going to lead to Red Hulk. I would be surprised. We might get it in an after credits. We might get a Red Hulk if that's where the story's going. I would be surprised if that's the case. We shall see. But again, if that's the case and the movie comes out and the book goes through the roof, then you just wait a couple of years. There'll be a lull between now and whenever they make a Hulk movie. There'll be lulls in this book. So this is one I would just keep checking back on. This is another one that's probably a trap that I put here. This is Thunderbolts 4. This is the first Jolt. There's an actress that has been cast for the upcoming Winter Soldier and Falcon show that was Asian American descent that basically put a thing out on Twitter like, I wonder who my new character is and who I'm going to be or whatever. And she had a little tattoo of a thunderbolt on her wrist. So everybody's assuming that this is the character she's going to be in that upcoming show. This is probably a trap. Let's be real. So I'm not going to go any further. This is probably a trap. And then our 7th and last book, and I'll be back, is Tales of Suspense, 94, First MODOK. And this all has to do with the MODOK series. But it's going to be animated, and people are going nuts for this book. If you want MODOK's a solid villain, first appearance, 12 cents. This is a book that has value. So just be patient. After the initial rush on the thing, that's why it's in the I'll be back. So that is the I'll be backs for this week. Let's stop my share. Let's remove that. And stop that share. And I got another list to share. So let's see. I can actually just go and close that. Screen share. Yeah, DS is talking about where she's holding a red vial too. There's a Funko Pop that they've seen with that. Comics is already on that. So yeah. Yeah. So, always like MODOK. Yeah. So I think the MODOK thing is definitely belongs where I got it. So, next up is the traps. And like I said, I probably could have bumped some of those others. I was trying not to be overly negative. So let's go on and get the traps pulled up here. Oop, I want this. I want this. We're going to share. Okay. Got a couple of subcategories. I forgot under the traps that I'm going to talk about. And the first one is, who is this? And the answer is, it doesn't matter what your name is. And these are first appearances that I don't think are going to probably have staying power. They're about characters we don't care about, but there's some kind of buzz around them because, oh, they might appear in an animated MODOK show. We'll get there in a second. So people are jumping all over. So that's our first subcategory under It's a Trap. And so first up is this Captain America 354, first U.S. agent. This is a John Walker, and this all has to do with the picture leaking from Winter Soldier and Falcon with the guy as John Walker in the U.S. agent outfit with Cap's shield. This picture is leaked out, so people are going crazy for this book. This is not his first appearance. This is his first appearance as U.S. agent. This is not John Walker's first appearance. No one has cared about John Walker ever. Ever. No one's cared. He's been around forever. Nobody cares. How many Marvel villains, Loki, Thanos, have people cared about after they've come and gone? It's clear he's going to be an antagonist to these two guys. He's the antagonist in a TV show, not even in a movie. I think this is a trap. People are they're chasing this. This isn't even his first appearance. If it was his first appearance, I probably would have bumped it up to the other category, but it's not. It's just his first appearance as U.S. agent. We'll actually come back to him in just a second. Let's go. So next, here is Amazing Fantasy 7. First appearance of Monica Rappaccini. Monica Rappaccini. This is a character that has been cast for the MODOK animated series on Disney Plus. This is a dollar bin book that people are paying $20 for. Stop it. I came this close to putting this in the dumpster fire. I didn't. I probably should have, but this is a classic. This is a classic character trap. We don't care about this character. We've never cared about this character. She's going to be in an animated show, not the MCU. Let's move along. We're back to U.S. agent. This is Captain America 333. His first appearance as Captain America. So before he became U.S. agent, John Walker was Captain America. This is still not John Walker's first appearance. Biggie's disagreeing with me. And I could be wrong that the first U.S. agent is a solid book. It's not a solid book for what it's going for right now. And people are going crazy over it. And it maybe should have been in the I'll be back category. I debated on these. If it had been his true first appearance, I would have put it in the I'll be back category. I just don't think either of these two are ultimately going to have much in value. But this is all my opinion. You can completely disagree. And really says he says, man, like, I'm not saying Cap isn't great. I'm saying John Walker no one cares about. And he's going to be the antagonist in the TV show, and then he's going to disappear. It's a trap. They're getting you to chase. You're chasing this book because they showed a picture. You're not, Biggie, but people are, because they showed a picture of him, of this guy on the set. And people are paying stupid money for these books when they shouldn't be. It's a trap. All right, next up, we are Oh, we're changing categories, our subcategories. So we've been under the It's a Trap. We've had the It Doesn't Matter Who You Are. This is just my Come On Man. And a lot of this is option news, that kind of thing. But these are my Come On Mans, and we're going to get here real quick. First up is Fear Agent, number 1. And I put most of the option news. It got optioned by Amazon. Okay. And yes, I realized The Boys was great. Amazon has optioned a ton of stuff. This is years from being in production. Years. There's no script. There's no director. There's no writers even attached. Nothing. It just got optioned. And this went from dollar bins to 34. Wait, hang on. Let me get this right. It was a $10 to $15 book. So you could argue that. It's now a $40 to $50 book. Based on Amazon optioning it. You never know if this is going to happen. Maybe this should be in the I'll Be Backs. But I just feel really strong. These option things, they're optioning. Hollywood is optioning all this stuff because they know they want to get the rights just in case. Doesn't mean they're ever going to do anything with it. It's a trap. This is a classic option news trap. I have 1 to 2 of these books every week when I do the 6 month, and most of them are back in the dollar bins or $5. It's just, I think it's a trap. So we'll see. I could be wrong on this one, but overall, I think this one's Swamp Thing 50. Okay, this one is the quote-unquote first appearance of Justice League Dark. This again goes back to Bad Robot optioning Justice League Dark. Here's the thing. This is not widely accepted as the first appearance of the Justice League Dark. It has the characters that ultimately become that group teaming up. They don't call themselves that. There's nothing official here. I guess you could say that's their first appearance. I lean toward the one where it's actually they actually named themselves Justice League Dark as the first appearance, but I realize this is older. I think this book is a trap. And you could argue that with just the Justice League book I talked about earlier, because this has been so many times. I honestly think if people are going to jump on a book when the movie comes out of the first Justice League Dark, I think it's going to be the other one. I could be wrong, but that's just my thought. I'm way behind on the chat, people. I know, and I appreciate it that you guys are staying with me on this. Hang on, let me pull that up so I can get to. So I had the one Batman Beyond in the comeback. This is the revelation that the new Batwoman is Elena Grayson. When has the revelation of any character ever been worth anything? It's always their first appearance. When you find out later that who they are, those books never have staying power. I can't think of one that really is a big deal. It's always the first appearance. Cobby's talking about Cemetery Beats. So that is Batman Beyond. Oh, we've moved on to another category under my It's a Trap. And these are the covers that we are suckers for. And so, yeah, we fall for these incentives. We spend crazy money on them. They ultimately amount to nothing. So, Atlantis Attacks variant, Ji-Hung Lee variant. It's gorgeous. Can you guys name who these two characters are? I realize you probably can't because you're all comic book nerds. But these aren't popular characters. They're not big characters. This book is, what was this? This was a 1 in 50 that's going for over $100. I realize Atlantis Attacks is probably not a super high order. But does anybody care enough about these characters to want to pay over $100 later? I'm going to argue no. I'm just going to argue no. But that's just me. So, yeah, I think this is a classic. Oh, it's pretty trap. Let's move on. Now, this it's still on the ooh, it's pretty trap, and it's not even pretty. This is Web of Venom, The Good Son, #1. This is a 1 in 25 that's going for 50 plus right now, right out of the gate. People are all over this Web of Venom and Carnage and all this stuff. This cover is not that pretty, and there's no first here. There's nothing here other than this cover, and it was a 1 in 25 of a Venom series. This book's got $10 to $15. Well, it's a 1 in 50, maybe $20 written all over it in a couple months. There's no, this is a 1 in 25. Yeah, this is a $10 to $15. It's not the $40 to $50 it's going for now. It's a $10 to $15 book. This is a trap. Just because it's an incentive. Now, so that's 15 over 16 books. I did put a book in the dumpster fire this week. I'm going to try to limit how many dumpster fires I do. I feel like it's a little overkill. And you guys are probably going to be like, why that one? And here it is. And it is, let me get back to this. Remove that. The Rift #1. And you're going to go, but Jason, they're actually making a show. They are actually making a show. They're making a show called Amazing Stories. It's going to be on Apple TV. I don't know how many of you guys have Apple TV. Probably not very many. And yes, it's going to be Steven Spielberg. But the show isn't about the Rift. The Rift is going to be an episode or two. It is coming out in March. Which means this is the all-time peak for this book. I don't care if you like the story. I don't care if it's great. This is it. This is the peak. You should be selling this book. You should not be buying it under no circumstances. Between now and unless you find it in a dollar bin and then you sell it between now and March, once that episode airs and goes away, even if it's a hit, this is over. It's been auctioned. It's been made. It's done. And this is the peak right now. What are you doing buying it? I think the Amazing Stories is going to be fine. I think there'll be some cool stuff there. I'm not ripping on the show. This is going to be 1 or 2 episodes at the most. And then it'll be forgotten. So that is the 16 books for this week. We had 7. Oop, I removed me from the stream instead of removing the screen share from the stream. Still doing this live. 32 minutes. That's not bad considering I spent a whole bunch at the beginning. Let me know what you think of this, guys. I did this live. I didn't interact with the chat a lot. But I wanted to do this live because I wanted to be fairly timely. We'll see. One of the things I plan on doing is I have this list. 6 months from now, I'm going to break this down and see what happened. And I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to be open about how good am I? Was I wrong? Was I right? So that's kind of my plan going forward. I don't know the timing of this just yet. Let me know when you guys think a good time for this would be. Probably Saturdays, but Saturdays would be tough to do something live all the time and guarantee I could do it. But I do want to do this more. I think one of the things I've been dealing with the top 10 look back is it's kind of peaked and it's trailing off. I get a lot of comments about, oh, it's always the same. And I also don't think it's pertinent enough. People have forgotten the books. It's not right and to really get the message across. I feel like there's a lot of people that just don't click on it because they don't care 6 months later. They've already wasted their money at this point. I'm trying to be more timely about it. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm going to run through the chat real quick, and then we're going to get out of here because I just want to thank you guys for all hanging out. Comics for All People, thank you. The Immortal Biggie Shack, what's going on? NYC was just bailing. Thanks for joining me, Kavi. 84 is still here. Bone Revival, what's going on? Thank you. Unruly still hanging out. Let's see. Rag 718. Rag is saying he's disagreeing with me on the Rift because it's really hard to find because it's low print. I just stand by that it's at its peak right now, and it's still like 20, which you could you could argue is maybe not enough to be a dumpster fire, but that's just, I think if you're buying it right now, you're making a mistake. DS Comics, that's looking like the crowd. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Let me know in the comments what you think of this idea and this concept of trying to do this live, or weekly look ahead at what's actually happening. And with that, we will catch you next time.